Good evening, everybody. 6:51, so coming at you late. I am home from the hospital. Everybody's healthy and happy, and I have a new daughter, so I'm very excited about that. We had a nice trend that happened when I was gone. A little bit tired today, but the show must go on. I had the chance to look over some stuff that I did not see when I was gone. Some of the high time frame plays, I went and looked over them for you guys, make sure everything is still clicking on all cylinders. I thought today would be a good idea to update you guys on why we're doing what we're doing, how we're doing it, and whatnot. First thing I want to talk to you about is we hit our our first trend leg that we were looking for, and we did it right off of our higher low. The idea here was that if we reclaim 6,550s, we would get our trend leg. Our trend leg is not over. We're simply flagging now before continuing on further. What I will show you today is how to determine whether that flag ends so we can continue higher on our trend leg. But we did get our first move up past all-time highs. It's cool, right? It's cool because we talked about this. We talked our resistance and our failed support, and our mechanics said as soon as we get above this, we should get our trend leg, and that's what happened. So mechanics work. We can't predict how long it will take to push above that level, but once it happened, it did exactly what we were thinking it would do. And just like this, I will show you exactly what to look for next. So we ended up pushing up high. We failed our higher low sometime this morning. I don't recall when, but I do recall that I set you up with a pre-market range right from here to here. And we were never able to push through it all day. Okay, this is actually a wonderful setup for you guys now. Let me show you how to exploit it. So the idea here, well, the old idea was we had to reclaim the 80s, but we no longer have to worry about the 80s, so I took that off my line. We are now in a false breakdown setup. So as long as we touched in the 7,730s, which we've already done, if we push above to the 7,754, 7,750s, we will backtest our breakdown to about right here. So that's an easy trade. Okay. It'll look kind of like this, I presume. Something like this. Then my thought is it comes down here, flags a little bit. If we higher low off of our reclaim level, we'll start the trend leg. So again, there's a bunch of ways to play this. The first one you should look for, the easiest one though, is if we push above this pre-market range, you should scalp it for a bunch of points. We'll get a green candle right above this range. Don't expect that green candle to follow through to new all-time highs. It probably will not. It probably needs to flag, but the first trade is in the books if that happens, okay? Then you got your higher low trade and so on and so forth. But the first thing you need to do is note the range. Secondly, you do not need to take a long until we're above this range. You don't want to take a long. You don't want to be bullish until we're above that pre-market range that was established overnight yesterday. That means that if price is to fail right here, drop all the way here, and then push through here, it is the exact same play as if it pushes through right now. It changes absolutely nothing, guys. So this and this is the same play, and it's hard to sit with that idea because you might want to long now in case it's the second one and not the first one. But what I'm saying is, whether it comes right here and right here, or whether it comes right here and right here, or goes straight up, this part, this leg from this red bar to right here is going to look identical. Okay? So the way you look at this is, if it comes down here, I have an opportunity to long. If it pushes through here, I have an opportunity to long. And I don't have to do anything right now unless I feel like scalping this blue range, which is fine. You can definitely scalp it because the chances of us testing the top of this blue range are very, very high. Okay? But hopefully that makes sense. Now the next thing we have to cover is where we're going. We will test this high again for sure. Don't know if it's going to be tomorrow. Don't know if it'll be Monday, but the chances of it happening are extremely high. We are likely to come here and here as well. These are going to be the targets. Just like I told you when we first reclaimed down here, the target's going to be around 8K, 7,550s for 8K. What I don't know is if we're going to set a higher low and push again, or if we're going to fail this higher low and come down and back test lower. I couldn't possibly know that. So we're going to play it by ear, but I'll tell you guys how to break it down as it's happening. As a long bias trader, these are the best kind of setups. because you can mark criterias for being long or having a long bias. You can ignore breakdowns. And then if you see a breakdown, you can exploit it as an opportunity. Okay. So that's how I would deal with ES. I want to talk about some other plays too. It's funny. I have some decent insight you might not have into like retail. I'm retail. It's not like I feel like I'm cool or something. It's more like Substack statistics, right? I can see the exact moment people subscribe and unsubscribe, and it's funny because I went back and I reviewed the charts. I reviewed them after the fact, right? Because I'd been gone for 3 days on spotty Wi-Fi, 2.5 days, whatever. And what happens typically is when a play pushes, say it goes up, this happened with Riot, and it comes back down. If someone were to enter right here and get this drawdown, mentally they're fine. If somebody is to enter right here and then gets it all retraced, that's when people just like run for the hills. I've seen people quit so many times when this happens. Okay. They're like, oh, it was up 10%. Now I'm down 1%. Oh, woe is me. Okay. Let's address that and talk about the overarching goal of what we're doing and why we're doing it, and also why it works. So let's take a ticker like Riot. Riot, the entry was good. Like, simple as. Our entry was good, and it's been rough since. But I remind you that because our goal is the mid 30s, our goal is the mid 30s, and our stop loss should be 19 slash whatever below this swing low, that whatever happens in this range is complete randomness. If somebody's telling you that they're making money playing these waves, they're not. Now, they might be buying every time price comes down, and that's fine, like an institution does. But typically, retail doesn't need to slowly size into a position because we don't have the type of capital that would move price. So if you're an institution and you slowly buy into a position, that's because you're afraid that the amount of stuff that you're buying is moving the price, so you have to do it slowly. We don't have those concerns. Even if everybody at the Discord pressed the exact same buy button on the exact same order at the exact same time, the price wouldn't budge a penny. Not even the most illiquid stocks, unless we were trading some oil field with an extremely low float, could we move the price together. We don't have the same concerns. So anybody who's saying that they're accumulating is a goofball. What instead that we're doing is we're maximizing our risk to reward, meaning we're getting in good. We're not pretending that we know that what the pattern is going to look like. And if we have a profit to take, meaning we have a big enough position, we take some off when we sweep highs. We didn't have one for this particular trade because we trimmed right here. If you recall, a couple days ago, we trimmed right here. Since we didn't add down here, we didn't have enough to trim up here. So instead, we take the slings and the arrows of the consolidation with the understanding that we have a good position and the idea that we're going to go higher regardless. Okay. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is the goal of this entire project for you guys. And what I see is the smartest thing you can do in a portfolio is to accumulate wealth. And what I mean by that is you want to own as many assets as possible for as cheaply as possible because we're all limited by our capital. Okay? So if you are able to play and suss out in your mind that Riot is both a low time frame and a high time frame play, meaning I want to own this through the entire cycle. I want to own this into the next 2 years, okay? But I also want to trade in and out of it because I want to take powder and rebuy shares at support because I want to own as many Riot shares as possible by the time that this cycle is over. That's my goal. My goal isn't to be like, I want to buy calls here and sell them here. You know what I mean? It's like, this is not what we're aiming for. Now, this could be lucrative if you want to buy calls here and you 5x your money and you want to put that all in shares down here. But I don't think that's not how I live, right? That's not what I'm trying to impress upon people. Instead, what I'm doing is I'm shooting for targets. Like back here when we sold 24, I'm buying support. I'm trimming resistance. I'm buying support. I'm accumulating that way. I'm not accumulating like somebody with a bot who has liquidity concerns. Okay, so I am in a low time frame riot trade targeting the mid 30s to trim half of all of it with a stop loss in the mid 19s. And the goal of when I get to this mid 30s is to take half of that trade and put it in to my long-term share bank, which I've been accumulating for multiple years at this point. And I'm going to take the other half as a trade, and I am going to take what I think is going to be the drawdown, and I'm going to buy more shares. Okay, so I'm going to keep churning the butter and increasing my position as much as possible through this entire cycle by playing it just like so. That's the goal. So that was long-winded, and just to say that I do not think we're off track on Riot. Let's talk Mara after earnings. Somebody posted, hey, Mara earnings were bad. And I am going to say my usual, I don't give two shits about the earnings. Here's what we need to see with Mara. So we have been sitting in Mara for a very long time. You may have, I definitely have been. I've been accumulating Mara, just like Riot, for multiple, like long period of time now. And back here, back for this old cycle. But I also had sold Mara at 20s, started reaccumulating around 10 and 12, and my goal is to ride Mara higher. Now let's look at this in the low time frame. We have a lower low, a lower low, a lower low. The first time we put a higher low in and break the plane, we're now in the trend. I think our cost basis, which should be right around this like 12 to 10 area right here, is not a bad place to be right now. Okay, the goal, this is obviously a range I'm making up, but the goal is to be in this range about at this cost when our first higher low is found. I think it could be this one, but until it breaks the high, I don't know for certain. I just know I want to be long Mara. I have not loaded the last bullet of Mara because I believe Riot is ahead of Mara. I could be wrong on this, but I don't think so. So I'm weighted more heavily Riot than Mara, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for Mara to push. I'm looking for a big push out of Mara next, okay? I'm looking for Mara to go up higher towards like 100. That's where the back test I see is. AMD, I would not bemoan you if you got in AMD already. I tried to tell you that I am more conservative. What that means is if you got an AMD around right here, that's fine. I think that there's going to be a push, but I also think there's going to be a retest. So I'm going to basically enter AMD right at the same cost, but I'm going to do it here with a stop loss below here. That's how I'm going to define my risk to reward. I'm going to take it to about 700. There's no wrong answer here. It's just what you want to do. But AMD has been a slightly annoying play. Because it's chopping, right? Nobody likes to be involved in chop, but the whole market's chopping, guys. We're not special snowflakes. We're just riding the same coaster that every single other person's riding. I'll just not cover Bitcoin or coin and master because it's tied to Bitcoin. Eventually, Bitcoin is going to find its balls. This is a absolutely brutal range, but things don't stay brutal forever. When they start moving, there will be disbelief that it will continue because we've chopped for so long, but that's how it works. And it starts going. My next target's around 74. I shouldn't have to beat a dead horse about that one. Upstart. This one's fine. This is set in a 1-2 on the high time frame. This is another one where I see people like absolutely get dejected when it goes up 13%, then it retraces all of it. It's okay, guys. It's okay for this kind of thing to happen. When I'm shooting for a move that goes to 100 and it goes from 36 to 29, do I like that? No, it's awful. I don't like retracements anything like more than you do, but I do know that I know where it's going, and I know it's not going to be a straight line, and I know that the entry is fine enough that I can eat this kind of thing. I don't like it. Obviously, I would like to be the person like who trimmed right here and re-added right here. I just wasn't in the capacity to do that when all of that happened. It is what it is. I did it with Riot because I was at, trading it. I didn't do it with Upstart because I wasn't. And it is what it is. In general, a good rule of thumb, guys, is if something travels 15 to 16% a day, though, it's a good idea to trim a little bit because almost every chicken like that gets retraced. Now, it doesn't get retraced 100% like this all the time, but it so frequently does that it's going to give you another bullet to reload later. SpaceX, that's going to go higher, almost guaranteed. I'm going to cut this at 143. Somebody asked me to recheck it. This is just setting the first higher low right here and here. Remember, to get the new trend, you need to see the first high or low, and then you need to break the high. The high's all the way up here, meaning what's going to happen is we're going to break this high, set a higher high, and set one more higher low, right? So I'm almost 100% certain we're heading to 143 on SpaceX. So I'm going to cut it. Netflix is still finding the false breakdown setup. This can take as long or as little as it wants. All that matters is we're consolidating above where the false breakdown is. That means when this is time to go, it's going to go extremely hard, and you want to be involved in that. Apple has an entry coming up, but not yet. I have this labeled on my chart, but I want to see Apple pop first. Then I want to buy the higher level of Apple. I'm going to ride that trend all the way up to like 370 or something like that. That's an easy play. This is going to be a layup, guaranteed. Palantir, I got out of this where I got out of it. I don't remember, guys. It had to be down here. But that being said, I think it's okay. I think what's going to happen, we swept this local high right here. I think we're heading to like maybe 300. So what I'm hoping for is we get a little flag out right here, maybe a correction, and then we can use whatever they develop here to get our entry set. Again, what I don't want to do is make the mistake of getting in a little bit too early, like I did last time when there was a correction where I ended up getting in down here and then I had to ride this all out. I am sure this is going higher. Like I can 99.999% sure that's going higher. I just don't want to wrap my capital up before I know what the flag looks like. So that's why I was saying if this leaves me behind, it just wasn't meant to be. But if you're just holding it, you're fine. I guarantee it. Guaranteed. Wolf looks fine. I think that's all I want to talk about, guys. I don't want to be like your motivational speaker or your life coach, but I will tell you guys, like I've been doing this long enough, not trading, but running the Substack long enough that I can see when people get upset and dejected, and when people come, it's always like if I post a play online and like every once in a while I'll post like buy right here and it'll go up like 25%. And people will be like, oh, that's magic, right? And they'll join and then they'll churn out in like 3 weeks and be like, oh, you can't do that every day. Well, no, because the market doesn't do it every day. Like I'm not magic. I can tell you what supports to buy, but I can't make them bring price to that support. And I can tell you what resistance is to sell, but I can't make them bring them to that resistance, right? They're going to make that decision about how long it takes and how long they want to wind the clock. Okay. I can't do it. I can't make it happen, but I can tell you what to look for. Okay. So, yeah, I don't know. I think this plays a layup. I think this is extremely easy. And I think you can trust it. You just need to see the reclaim. Will it give you the reclaim? I don't know. Maybe. If it does, I know what you should do. And if it doesn't, if it starts capitulating, I know where you should buy the knife catch, right? And that's good enough. That's good enough to make money. You don't need to know what happens next to make money. You just need to know what you're going to do when they do something. And that's kind of like, that's it in a nutshell, guys. I can't tell you what's going to happen. I can just tell you what to do when it does. Okay. Either way it goes, I promise you there's going to be upside out of this. And if you would like to catch it, that's what you need to do. So that's about it, guys. I will be on more intermittently, but I will definitely be on. I'm definitely at my computer. Take care, guys. Bye.